Hello, everyone. I'm Christy Forsyth. This is your weekly reading where we talk all about what is happening in the energy that is happening all around us. What is happening in the energy that is influencing your actions, your feelings. You're probably already feeling a lot of this, and this is going to help you to understand the things that you're feeling. And most importantly, it's going to give you a sense of how you can best navigate this week, how you can make the most of this week using the energy that we have going on. So it's a little bit of a combination of some astrology, some channeled messages that I've connected to. Sorry, I have like a hair in my eye. And then we build upon those messages with a tarot reading to close the reading out. Make sure you stick around for the tarot reading because that's where we really get into the good stuff and we build upon the messages. Hi, Rick. Nice to see you here. Say hello if you're watching. Let me know what you guys have been feeling, what you're experiencing here with this energy. For me, it feels like we're truly leaning into Capricorn season right now, meaning like I'm really feeling like that grounded earthiness, that practicality. I'm very much feeling that. Let me know, by the way, how I sound because I've got a new mic and I'm trying out some new sound stuff. So let me know how it sounds. Um, so I'm also feeling that winter energy, right? This time that we need to just like take a little time and connect with ourselves and slow down, and there's no need to like force or push. In fact, I think if you're trying to force or push anything right now, it is not going to work very well for you. So going with the flow and kind of just letting things be easy. We don't want to be pushing anything too hard. We don't want to like ourselves included, especially ourselves, right? We want to just be going at the pace that we're feeling called to go. So, oh, good. We've got lots of people here today. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Cindy. Nice to see you guys here. Okay, sounds good. Perfect. So, I think we're kind of in that energy. And I think in this grounded energy, this morning when I connected, I really felt like, well, I heard this and I posted it on my social media, but like that right now we're being tasked with or called to, hi Aaron, to choose long-term peace over our short-term comfort. And that makes sense because again, I'm really feeling that Capricorn season energy. We're in Capricorn season right now. I'm really feeling that right now. And it is about like thinking about what does it look like for the long term? What practically, like taking a look at practical things and figuring out what do I need to do in order to create this peace for myself or to create these goals for myself for the long term. And a lot of times as we know, sometimes those things that we feel pulled to do in that moment, like those knee jerk responses, those very ego based responses with things, right? Where we do things that we're self sabotaging or we're choosing things that we know don't really serve the long-term goal or the direction that we really really want to go in, and we all choose them anyway sometimes, right? That's part of our human learning experience. But this week I think we're really being encouraged and invited to take a look at that and decide what steps do I need to take in order to create this peace or really to create whatever it is that I'm wanting in my future. And where am I getting caught in the pitfalls of what my ego wants versus what my soul wants, right? Where am I letting fear hold me back? Where am I just reacting emotionally in a moment? And, you're not going to feel good about that the next day or even the next hour. Where am I continuing to have certain habits that just I know aren't serving me? Whatever that looks like for you, this is going to look very, very different for all of us because we all have different things that we're working on, different goals. And so I want you to apply and think about this for yourself. This is a time where we're looking at goals. We have the new moon that's coming up, the 18th. So that's happening within this week, okay? And I'm really already feeling this. It's a new moon in Capricorn, and I'm feeling that build up to the new moon a lot. And so it is asking for us to take a look at, what do you want to manifest? What do you want to create for yourself? And how do you get there? Like, what are the practical steps in order to get us there? It's helping us to get a little bit more grounded and to take a look around and to decide from a very grounded place, what do we need to be doing? It might also be having us take a look at what our priorities are. We may have had some experiences last week, or we may have experiences this week that really make us look at, okay, am I prioritizing the best things for me? Am I prioritizing things that bring me peace, or am I prioritizing things that are not really serving me? Am I just focused on putting out fires here all the time, or am I looking at the big picture and really trying to figure out some solutions for myself? That is a big part of what this energy is asking us to do. And so we really want to be taking a look at some things, like asking ourselves, what is it that I've been avoiding? I feel like this energy is in our face a little bit, with it in a gentle way, but also in a very strong way, and saying, hey, like, you've been avoiding this situation. You might have some lessons that are coming up for you, and they're coming up because there's been something that you've been avoiding, like that you've been putting off, you've been avoiding. So if be honest with yourself. It's okay to be honest with yourself. It's actually a really good thing. So what is it that we've been avoiding that really we need to circle back to and give some extra energy and attention to? And or what have you been distracting yourself with that isn't really a good use of your time, your energy? We really want to be prioritizing our time and our energy and making sure that we're investing it in the people, places, and things that we know are going to give back to us, are going to contribute to our lives, our future, the goals that we have, in a way that really supports all of that. So I think that we're looking at all of that. Um, I also felt like another question that we need to be asking ourselves right now is, who and what is pulling our strings? So meaning, like, are there people that you're letting get a reaction out of you? Are there people that you're allowing to manipulate you, to tell you what you need to do? Like, I think that we're looking at all of that right now and saying, does this contribute to my long-term peace? And probably it doesn't, right? If someone else is controlling you or pulling your strings or pushing your buttons, whatever you want to call that, that's not really something that's going to contribute to your long-term peace. And so in my mind, the image that I got was like us cutting those strings. And that's actually, when we're talking about moving energy, visualization is a really powerful way to do that. It is a really powerful way to move energy. So like, if you wanted to, if you were like, okay, somebody's pulling my strings, somebody is manipulating this, whatever, you can in your mind imagine where those strings are. And you can in your mind imagine that you have scissors, or maybe you have a saw, maybe you have a sword, whatever that is, and you're cutting all of those strings and you're setting yourself free. That sends an energetic message to your energy field that you're setting yourself free, but it also sends a message energetically out to the universe. Like, I'm no longer willing to participate in this. And you might even say something like that, right? Like, so are there things that you're no longer willing to participate in? Maybe you've participated in them in the past, right? Because someone else wanted that from us. And I think a lot of people who watch these videos are sensitive to energy and in tune with energy. And when you're sensitive to energy, sometimes we can be easily swayed by what other people want from us. But I think that we're taking a look at that now and saying, like, what do I want? What would really truly bring me peace? And you'll notice the title says choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. So that also says that we might have to make ourselves a little uncomfortable right now. Darcy's saying, I nailed it. Yeah, we might have to make ourselves a little uncomfortable right now, because change is uncomfortable. Setting ourselves free from things that have been manipulating us or influencing us in a negative way is uncomfortable. And so there might be something that you're feeling called to do and you have a lot of fear about it, but intuitively you know that this is the direction that you need to go because you know that this contributes to your long-term peace, your long-term goals, whatever that is for you. Hi Prakash, hi Bridget. Thank you guys so much. There's so many of you here live. I love it. So who and what is pulling your strings and what do you need to do to set yourself free? That's so important for us to be doing right now. There's a lot that is coming to light still right now, a lot of truth that's coming to the surface. And I think some of that is coming through us asking ourselves those questions. And this week, I feel like we've had a lot of truth coming to light. And I think this week, the truth or the spotlight of truth is shining on us. And so it's us being really willing to be honest with ourselves, to take a look at ourselves, our patterns, how we've been showing up, where we've been abandoning ourselves, where we've been making choices that we know don't really contribute to the better for us, but maybe in the moment it like appeases something or it puts a fire out or it settles something. But we don't do that anymore. And so I want you to make that decision if you feel called to, right? That you don't do that anymore and that it's time for you to step away from that. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so it's time to take some actions around that and to help yourself to move in that direction. And part of this is also just learning how can we connect with a certain level of detachment. Like when I was meditating on this and connecting with the messages today, I very loudly heard, let God. So, you know how let go and let God, right? So we are needing to let go, but it was very strong emphasis on the let God. So the choice to take the actions that we're feeling called to take, but also giving a lot of that to God, to the universe. It doesn't have to be God for you, whatever that is for you, right? But handing that over to your higher power and trusting with faith that that's going to be taken care of, especially if you're intuitively feeling called to take an action, to make a change, whatever that is. And so it's like, do what you need to do and then let God. So your action step is to let go in some way. It might be to set yourself free mentally. It might be choosing to redirect your mental focus again and again and again until your brain learns we don't think about that anymore. We don't focus on that anymore. It might be you choosing to let go of anger, some feelings that we've been harboring for a long time toward people. It might be us choosing to lean into forgiveness. That can be letting go as well, because that's about setting ourselves free. That's not about setting the other person free. They will get their karma, I promise you. But choosing to let go. So is there something that we need to let go of that will contribute to our long-term peace? Because if you're holding on to anything, whether it's an outcome that you really want to have happen, whether it's something that has happened in the past that is hard to let go, but you know that you need to, all of that is impacting the peace that we're going to be able to connect with as we move forward. And so what do we need to let go of? And then trust in the let God part, right? Let God take care of it. Don't try to step in and fix it. Like God's got it. So you do your part, let God do his part. Also, with that, because I think we're continuing to work on this detachment, it's like, I want you to think about if you're having a hard time detaching from something. Number one, I've talked a lot about like coming back into this present moment and focusing on the present moment and just holding gratitude and enjoying the present moment. And right now we're being called to really take excellent care of ourselves. We are meant to be pouring into our self-care, our self-nurturing, all of that. But if you're having a hard time letting go, can you ask yourself, what meaning am I giving this thing that I'm having a hard time letting go of? Like, and can we start to change the story? Can we start to change the meaning? Because we're only attached to a specific outcome, to a specific relationship, to a specific experience because of the meaning that we've allowed it to take up in our minds. And what if we start to change the story? What if you start to tell yourself something different? What if you, even if it's like, that doesn't matter so much to me anymore. That isn't as important to me anymore. And at first, it might not feel like that's true, but the more that you redirect your mind, you are allowing yourself to disconnect and detach from that energy. And I talk all the time about how all of the magic comes in when we're detached. It's not when we're trying to force the outcome. Have you ever forced an outcome and had that happen and felt good about that on the other side? Probably not. You might have still gotten what you wanted, but what was the cost? Or how long did it last? Probably not very long. We want to be in a place where the flow is allowing something to happen. Like what's meant to happen is going to happen. And we can be intentional. We can put out to the universe what it is that we want. And that's a really good thing because we want to make sure that we're doing that as well, but also trusting, also leaning into that let God part. And so, again, like asking yourself, can I change the story a little bit around this? Can I look at this from another perspective? Can I just be open to different outcomes or different experiences? Because the moment that you do, this is where I find really cool things happen that are totally unexpected that come into our experience. We also have this new moon coming in on the 18th. I mentioned that a little bit. So, this is a really powerful new moon for manifestation. So, for those of you who like to do things to intentionally manifest your experience, not control it, but manifest it, right? Put your intentions out there. This is a really amazing time to do that. However, you like to do that, whether you like to do manifestation writing or a vision board. I mean, there's so many different ways and approaches that you can do that. And if you don't know where to start, it's a really great place. Like just look it up on YouTube or wherever you feel called to, right? To show you the way with that. I shared this in a short, was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago. One of my favorite ways is to do manifestation writing. And I write it as though I'm writing a letter to God or to the universe, whatever that is for you. And I write like I already have the things that I'm trying to create. And I write it from a place of gratitude because the universe doesn't know that you don't already have these things. So I write it from that place so that we're building the energy up and we're creating those things. But I'm also very open to the idea that while I'm intentional, that I'm also trying my best to be detached from the outcome and to know that if not this, something better is going to come in. So anyway, so around this new moon, this is a great time for you to look at that. It's also a great time for you to lay out your goals and really break them down and decide like, okay, what are the steps that I need to take toward that? Right. And this might be part of your choosing long-term peace as well, because it might be like, okay, like what do I, to get to where I want to be, let me break that down and figure out what does this look like? What does this need to look like? What do I need to do? What changes do I need to make in my life? What do I need to keep doing more of? What do I need to continue with? What works? What doesn't? All of that stuff, and continuing to take a look at that. It's a really good time for us to plan for the long term. And it's a really beautiful time also to create some kind of a structure for ourselves. I love structure. I love to know what to expect, right? So this is where those of you who like to control things, this is a good thing to control. Not from a place of like a tight grip, but like to say, okay, what would be a better structure for this thing that I'm trying to create? Like what would be, whether it's like a better approach to it, better habits, maybe you change things up a little bit. Yes, Missy, it is very hard to stay detached. I agree. And you probably won't stay detached, right? But move out of it as much as you can. When you catch yourself being attached, when you catch yourself trying to control it or really obsessed with the outcome or checking. I find when we're attached, we're checking things, you know? To follow up and to see, oh, does this happen yet? Has this happened yet? It is hard. But the more that we engage in that, the more that we're caught up in that. And so can you commit to, for the next hour, I'm not going to check. For the next hour, I'm going to redirect my focus. I'm going to focus on something else because there's a lot of power in just like refocusing your energy and attention too. And it will start to feel better, I promise you. But when you're caught up in an energy, it can be hard to move yourself out of it. So the hardest work in detachment is like that initial work where you're first pulling yourself out of that, if that makes sense. So this is a good time to add that structure in, or to figure out structure or add a structure for things. And I also heard when I was connecting with this, like as we're taking a look at what do we want to do, what do we want to be investing our time and our energy in, what's important to us, all of that stuff, that we might come to that place where we say, okay, but like that's great, but like I, I I don't know if I can make this happen, or I can't make this happen, or whatever, right? You might be deciding that initially in that moment, because again, I think some of the things that we're deciding are pretty big things, and we might not know how that's going to work just yet. So number one, put your intention out to the universe. But also I heard, instead of this idea of I can't make this happen, I want you to instead ask, how can I make this happen? And part of the answer to that question is you, but part of the answer to that question is God, right? So you also ask that question to God. God, show me how I can make this happen. This is something that's important to me. This is something that I really want. So show me how I can make this happen. And then allowing yourself to go with the flow of where the energy is leading you, trusting that step by step, little bit at a time, it's going to lead you exactly where you're meant to be. It might lead you to the solutions. It might lead you down a totally different path that's even better. Who knows, right? We're detached queens now, so who cares? So, you're going to be led when you're inviting that energy into that, so that you can be shown where you need to go, what you need to do, all of that stuff. So instead of just immediately writing that off, right? Because we're having to move out of old paradigms, old ways of doing things, old experiences that we've had. Like, we're used to a lot of the stuff that we have happening in our world right now. And I still think as we're closing out this year of the snake in Chinese astrology, we're still shedding some of that. So some of that is like us learning, like, oh, like that's like I've been saying this, and I said this to a client today too, like that's a past life thing. And I don't mean like a past life. I mean an experience that you had in this life, but it feels like a past life. That's like that's like we're never going back into that experience again, if that makes sense. And so I think we're like breaking free from some stuff, some patterns, some things that we've been doing for a long time. And it's just like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. And truly feeling that and knowing that to the core of you, to the depths of you. And as we're working through this, it might be hard to, like, as you're like opening to new possibilities, sometimes as you're opening to these new possibilities, it is like your initial knee-jerk old way of thinking response is, I can't do that. I can't make that happen. But I want you to just be open, and instead say, when you catch yourself saying that, I want you to say, how can I make this happen? If this is something that is meant for me, how can I make this happen? And then you wait for further instructions. You watch what shows up in your experience. You take steps that you feel inspired to take, not from fear, but from just like an intuitive sense. They feel very different. And you go with it. So there's a lot happening right now. And I think that this is a really beautiful change that's happening for us, within us. I think we're very focused on our bodies, taking really good care of ourselves. Like, so some of that might even be like just in your physical appearance, your physical experience, your world, your home, all of that stuff as well. But whatever that looks like for you, I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what does that look like for you? Like, how are you choosing long-term peace, or what is going to contribute to your long-term peace? So I have pre-shuffled the deck for the tarot reading, and I'm going to pull the cards, and then we will come back and talk about the meaning. So right from the top, I'm pulling, okay, 3 of Swords right from the top. Interesting. The Chariot. Makes sense. The Hermit. The Queen of Cups. Again, makes sense. The 7 of Cups. Okay, so we're covering some different things. Interesting. And the Nine of Swords. Okay, so this is very heavy on letting go of our bullshit. This is very much like our bullshit is like contributing to maybe the short-term comfort, but not contributing to our long-term peace. So the first thing is, this week we may have to take a look at some things that have been really hard for us to take a look at. Some things that maybe we get stuck in our head about sometimes, or we've avoided getting stuck in our head about, things that have been very painful. I mean, this is not Three of Swords, like just not a cheerful card, right? And it's a card that can be about heartbreak or painful endings, these kind of things, right? But it also is a card of healing. It's a card of healing, feeling it to heal it, essentially. And so this is something that we're being encouraged to do to contribute to that long-term peace. Like if you finally address those things that have been nagging at you, and you'll know what they are, like they're there, they always are nagging at us. They're always saying, hey, pay attention to me. And I think that we're maybe, if we're willing, going to take a look at that this week and hopefully make some changes. Hopefully, I'm feeling like this feels very thought heavy with this. So allowing it to change our perspectives, the way that we're perceiving things, the things that we're focusing on, allowing us to talk back to some of those really terrible things that we've been telling ourselves, right? Because what happens when something bad happens for us, we say really shitty things to ourselves about that, right? We come to some really shitty conclusions. And a lot of it is like us saying terrible things about ourselves, right? We all have to work on that as human beings, but it also is just a very human thing. And so maybe we start to stick up for ourselves a little bit. We start to say, you know what? No, I don't talk to me that way anymore. This sounds kind of weird, but I'm going to share this with you guys just because it's something that I felt called to do this year. So like it's winter time here. It's like very dry, right? So put lotion on every day. So the weirdest thing is like what I've been doing every day when I put my lotion on is telling myself I love myself while I'm putting lotion on. Almost like I'm like rubbing love into myself. That sounds so weird. But like it's very intentional, right? It's like turning that love toward myself. And like, where do we need to do more of that? Where can we do a little bit better? Where can we cheer ourselves on? I also probably sounds weird, but I will walk around and I will talk out loud to myself and I will say positive, affirming things, because certainly I have said really shitty things to myself and that doesn't feel good to me. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't want to feel the way that makes me feel. And I'm sure that you don't either. Yeah. Darcy says she loves weird. Yeah, I'm totally weird. And I love weird too. Weird is my favorite. So letting what needs to be healed, what you need to take a look at, maybe you just don't avoid it this time. Right? One of the questions this week is like, what have I been avoiding? What have you been avoiding that you need to take a look at? And you either need to take some action toward or change your thoughts around. What needs to be addressed, or what have you been distracting yourself with? Because we're preparing with this Chariot card to move forward. I'm actually surprised to not see the Devil card here, because I feel like a lot of this is like, what's been holding me back? Who or what have I been allowing to hold me back? But the Chariot card feels like we're choosing to move forward. We're choosing to set ourselves free from the puppet strings that have been holding us back, from other people's expectations, from our own stuff, right? Like we're choosing to move forward with things. And I also think like we're more than we have been in a while starting to focus on, okay, like where am I going? What do I want this future to look like? What will contribute to my long-term peace? And we're moving forward with it. So this is a fast moving energy. So you might find yourself, when you feel it, when you know the actions that you need to take, when you have that clarity, you might be moving forward with some things really quickly. You might decide, you know what, like this is what I need in order to heal, and you're taking an action right away. So you might be taking some actions this week that surprise even you, because you're moving forward with that. Okay. But because balance, and we want balance with everything, we also have the hermit, right? We're still very much in this winter time, this time to reflect, this time to choose peace now, right? You want future peace, but can you choose peace now for yourself? This is a time to really go within and to look at ourselves and to reflect on some things and to connect. Like ultimately, the hermit is going within to connect with this wisdom that is available to him through his connection to source, through his connection to himself, and allowing that process. So you might be like taking action while also pulling away a little bit and reflecting and slowing down. And so there's that balance there with that. Queen of Cups, we talked a lot about relationships last week, and there's still some of that energy lingering here where we are taking a look at, like, in terms of our long-term peace and what we want for ourselves, like, what does that look like in regard to our heart, in regard to our relationships and how we show up in relationships, how we allow other people to show up in relationships with us. I see us taking a look at that, and you might feel called, part of what you might feel called to do, learning from past experiences, like, what are my boundaries now? What boundaries will protect my peace? Because that's what a boundary is for, is to protect your peace. It's never about being unkind to someone else. It's about protecting your peace. It's about ensuring that your experience is going to be one that truly honors who you are and what you need. We might also be feeling I don't know, I'm getting this sense, like, of us feeling more connected to our hearts. And what's the quote from The Alchemist? Did you guys ever read the book The Alchemist? It's so good. Something like, you'll never be able to escape your heart, so you better listen to what it has to say. And this is giving me that energy right now. Like, what is your heart telling you? It's leading you in the right direction. And when your heart tells you, you move on it this week, okay? Seven of Cups, I think we're going to be presented with some options. Some of them great, some of them not so great. And the beauty is that you get to choose. The beauty is that we get free will and we get to decide where we are taking this journey. And there are things that are destined to happen in our experience, but there also are a lot of things that we create through our free will. So what is it that you're creating? What is it that you want to create? And how can you lean into that more? You might find that there are options that are showing up for you, and some of those options are very reflective of what you've called into your experience in the past. And then some of them might look new, they might look different, and maybe you've been afraid to explore them before. They might look different and so different that it's like, oh, well, this is different. I don't know, like, if I feel comfortable with this. I don't know if I want to try this because it's different, right? It's impacting my short-term comfort. But this is saying, lean into where your heart is guiding you. And probably it's not going to be a repetition of past patterns that have not served you well at all. So letting that lead you and deciding, you have to decide between two things, three things, like, oh, like, what direction do I go? And it's like, listen to your heart. Listen to what allows you to level up. Listen to what is going to support this real vision that you have for yourself. Like, the time is now. So we need to lean into that. But we might find with that Three of Swords, and then we're closing this out with the Nine of Swords, that we are in our heads a lot this week. We're thinking about a lot. So don't let it, how do I want to say this? Like, don't let your thoughts hold you back. Don't let your thoughts keep you stuck. Don't, like, as you're trying to reflect on this, don't say, well, I'm just so overwhelmed, I'm just not going to think about any of it. Think about it. Reflect on it. Really connect with yourself, because I think that there's an amazing opportunity for us to do that this week. But if we want to stay in denial, if we want to avoid, if we want to distract ourselves with things that don't help us, then we're not taking advantage of this window of opportunity that we have. So those are your messages for this week. You might, there might be some sticking points, but I think that there's also some blessings here in this as well, and a lot of deeper understanding of ourselves, of the path that we're on, of what we want, of where we're going. So take a little time, especially around the 18th with that new moon, take a little time to put those intentions out there, but also do your best to stay in that detached place and let yourself go with the flow and see where this adventure of life is leading you. I love you guys so much, and I will see you all soon with another video. Take care. Oh, and like, share, subscribe if that speaks to you, if you feel called to do that. It always helps, and it allows these videos to get to the people who need to see it. And if you have somebody who's like, they need to hear these messages, make sure that you send that to them. Okay. Thanks, guys. I love you. Bye.